Welcome back to another episode of The Canon. I'm your host, Terry. Today I'm doing my initial reaction of Avengers Infinity War. It is so tough. It's so much to talk about. It's tough to do it without spoilers, but my man's Campia, he said we don't do spoilers till later, and I agree. Ain't nobody gonna listen to this anyway. But anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna go through my first initial reactions and no spoilers. So I've made a decision that I'm not going to give grades out to after at least the second time I see it, because you usually with these movies you need to see it more than once process. But just off what I just saw, I enjoyed the movie. I think personally, for me, not for everybody, it didn't quite do what I thought it would do. It did a lot of things. It just didn't quite do what I thought it would do for me as far as the way it hit me. And that's a whole nother thing that we'll talk about in the spoiler section. But, there's some parts that to really like. There's some parts that are not so, good for me. I would say that the movie, one of the biggest, I think, negatives is with anything, you have too many characters. And it's so many people that you would have to have like a 4 or 5 hour movie to do everybody justice. So unfortunately, you don't get to see everybody. And that's something that everybody kind of expected going into it. I think they did a good job of giving most people their moments, but overall it's just like some of big names, without fail are going to be left out. And you're like, oh man, that's all we really got. So, but that's kind of the nature of the beast. Thanos, he was a big positive. I love Thanos. I love what they did with him. There's a couple nitpicks that I would have with him. But for the most part, I really, really love Thanos. So there's that. CGI. I don't see how Marvel's going backwards. Maybe because their scale keeps getting bigger, but the CGI lately is not getting there. And you know what? Thanos, for the most part, wasn't bad. I would say like 95%. The other CGI stuff was weaker, but Thanos, they put a lot of work into. I couldn't help though, but wishing he was just Josh Brolin instead of a CGI villain. Or maybe you could have did some type of practical effect, because Thanos was very human. Like everything they did with him was very human. And so it felt like, what was the point of making him an alien besides making him strong? So I just felt like maybe they could just use Josh Brolin. But Josh Brolin was great. Thanos was great. I like the way they did that. It's so tough without talking about spoilers. I think overall it felt like I was watching a bunch of different movies. And this is nothing new with Marvel. The humor, I just think, undercuts the drama, especially this one. When you build it up as this some type of apocalyptic event where it's really serious stakes. And part of the movie's like that, but other parts not. And it's not like half the movie was this and then half the movie was that, which probably would have worked better. It was like stacked on top of each other. It was like they were playing Tetris. Every time they would lay down one good emotional scene, they'd kill it with some humor. And then right when you're getting into the humor, they'd kill it with some dark. And it was like they were trading off back and forth. And it's like, for me, I'm like, okay, if you want to start it off real jokey and light and then transition to something darker, cool. Or if you want to be dark and have moments of lightness in the middle of the fight, because it happens in the middle of battle where things are just so bad that you just gotta laugh like that, things like that I felt would be fine. But the way they did it, it's just like they were trading shots for shots between emotional drama and weight and comedy. And it didn't mix well for me. And so, you could kind of tell from the trailers and whatnot, people were going to be in different sections. And it's just like we were watching 3 different movies. So, it was tough. I just think it was tough to put this thing together as a cohesive movie. But again, if you're talking about positives, you can't knock the interaction. That's the effect I've said, the Avenger Effect that you got with the Avengers, that you got when DC does its crossover with CW, that you were supposed to get with Justice, and you got with Justice League. I think for as bad as that movie is, people still enjoy it because of the interactions. So you can't kill that buzz. Seeing Tony Stark go off with Doctor Strange, which you see in the trailers, or see all these people meet up in Wakanda, which you see in the trailer. You can't knock that. That stuff's just cool by itself. But then I think some of the way they introduced people and stuff was pretty cool too. So there's a lot of cool moments, but I don't think that makes for a good or great movie. And so I'll see it again tomorrow to kind of get to my thoughts and really solidify it. But as of right now, if I had to grade it, I would give it a B-. I just feel like, yeah, that's the cohesive. That's the word. When it comes together, I think the movie's a little all over the place with a lot of great moments in it. And so it's tough. It's really tough, to be honest with you, especially without talking about spoilers. But I'll get to the spoilers on the weekend, probably Sunday. So anyway, that's my thoughts right now. Go to the comment section. If you haven't seen it, let me know what you're expecting. If you have seen it, no spoilers, please. Let's wait for that. Thumbs up, subscribe, share it around. If you heard it here, it's official canon.